who is the guy that you can select that's going to carry you to the ship. We're going to give you our league-winning picks at every position. Let's start with captain of the field, the quarterback. Who do you think is going to be that guy?
I think it's going to be Justin Fields this year. He was close to that guy last year before he got hurt, but I think this year he does it and obliterates fantasy football at the quarterback position. We know what he can do with his legs. He's almost a lock for 1,000 rushing yards and 6+ rushing touchdowns, assuming he stays healthy all year. That's almost a given. But it's what he's going to do with his arm this year that's going to carry him to that next level. Kind of like with what Jalen Hurts did last year, to where he went from a very good fantasy QB to an absolute elite fantasy QB. That is going to be Justin Fields this year, and we saw a little glimpse of it in the preseason so far. It's not going to be him throwing the ball down the field, 40 yards, dimes to DJ Moore, throwing into triple coverage, sidearm while he's falling down like he's Patrick Mahomes. No, that's not what it's going to be. It's going to be like, oh, look, there's DJ Moore for an easy throw, and then DJ Moore is going to run 70 yards for a touchdown, and guess who's going to get those fantasy points? Justin Fields. It's going to be stuff like that. They're going to make it so easy for him throwing the ball. They beefed up this offensive line. This was one of the worst offensive lines last year. He had no time to throw. He's going to have more time to throw. DJ Moore is a fantastic wide receiver, gives this offense a whole new dimension. They still have Darnell Mooney, who people forget had 1,000 yards 2 years ago. Maybe Chase Claypool can get it going. They have a good pass-catching tight end in Cole Kmet. Khalil Herbert out of the backfield. They have weapons here. This guy, with what he can do with his legs, doesn't need to throw for 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns. He just needs to get to like 3,300 yards, 25 touchdowns. And if he does that, he's going to smash in fantasy football this year because of all the rushing upside. Justin Fields is a guy, if you're not getting, Hurts, Mahomes, or Allen, just wait a little bit. You can get Fields, and he has similar or maybe even better upside than those guys this year.
Well, I'm going to go with the guy who finished just behind Justin Fields in fantasy points last year, and I also expect to take a big step forward. I know you feel that way too. Trevor Lawrence was the QB7 in fantasy last year, and keep in mind, this is his second full season in the NFL and his first actual season of being in the NFL with a real head coach and an experience that resembled something like professional football. All right, we're just going to pretend his rookie year didn't happen because it was not his fault. Trevor Lawrence was good last year, 4,000 yards, showed the scrambling ability, finally stopped taking sacks, stopped making bad turnovers, and that was just his second season. Now you add Calvin Ridley, who is still probably an elite receiver, and it's just going to get better. He has a legit shot to finish as a top 5 quarterback, but you don't have to draft him that way. You can get him as the QB 8 or 9 sometimes in fantasy drafts, and it's always about value. Tell you that. I like getting an elite quarterback early, but think of this, instead of drafting the known elite guys in round 3 or 4, why not get an elite quarterback in round 6, 7, or 8 instead? Trevor Lawrence also has some rushing ability. I don't think he's really unlocked yet. We might see him take that to a next level too. So Lawrence is a guy who I think absolutely is worth drafting. You don't have to spend an early pick to get an elite quarterback. I'm going to continue to preach that. And Lawrence, just like Fields, is one of those guys you grab every time he's available. All right, now let's look at tight end. You might think there aren't that many candidates to be a league winner outside of Travis Kelce, but there's always somebody who steps up. Who do you think it is?
Yeah, I'm going real deep here, but I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Luke Musgrave, rookie tight end in Green Bay, so far in the preseason. Now, look, a lot of times I tell people, do not draft rookie tight ends. They tend to struggle. But right now, he's looking really good. He's played 83% of the starter snaps with Jordan Love, and he's been targeted on 38% of Jordan Love's passes. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say Luke Musgrave is going to have a 40% target share this year, but it shows that the connection is there with him and Jordan Love. And Luke Musgrave, even though, Michael Mayer got all the pre-draft hype, and then Kincaid and Laporta got all the post-draft hype, Luke Musgrave was a very good tight end prospect, a great pass-catching tight end. That's going to be his role in this offense. When you look at this offense, yes, they have Christian Watson. Then you got Romeo Doubs, who, maybe he's going to be good as a second-year player. Didn't do a lot as a rookie. You have another rookie wide receiver in Jaden Reed. There's a path here for Luke Musgrave. And Luke Musgrave doesn't have to be awesome to be a league-winning tight end, because you don't even have to draft Luke Musgrave. You can go out to the waiver wire and just pick him up and put him in your lineup. And that's what we see a lot of times from league-winning tight ends. It's not guys who are drafted. I mean, obviously Travis Kelce, or if you got a guy like Mark Andrews a couple years ago who was drafted and then finished as a tight end one, sure. But a lot of times it's guys like last year, Evan Ingram. Nobody drafted Evan Ingram, and if they did, they dropped him pretty quickly, and then they picked him up midseason and he helped teams win championships. That's what a guy like Luke Musgrave could be because he's not being drafted. So if you're not getting one of the elite tight ends and you're just punting on the position, I don't mind Luke Musgrave as your final pick. He's got a path. He's got the potential. Worst case, if it doesn't pan out, you can drop him and grab someone else.
All right, so my pick might seem a little too obvious, but it really doesn't seem to be because finally, I think Kyle Pitts is priced right in fantasy drafts. You know, I said as a rookie, I'm not drafting him because he's going to be overhyped as a rookie. Rookie tight ends usually don't excel. Well, but there are exceptions, of course. Kyle Pitts had a pretty good rookie season with 1,000 yards, but people were still disappointed. And then his second year, I said, I'm definitely not drafting him because everyone's expecting the breakout. Just didn't seem like the time was right. That offense was kind of questionable still. And it was, and he got hurt. Well, you know what? Now the time is right. Now he's ready. His third year. And you have to remember, as a rookie, 1,000 yards, he was only 21 years old. All right, despite catching passes from a soon-to-be-washed Matt Ryan and a not very good offense, he still did that. And last year is just a forgotten year, right? Let's just forget it happened. This year, we only need to see that he's healthy, and it looks like he is. The knee seems fine. All indications in the preseason seem like he's a full go. The quarterback situation, look, maybe he doesn't have an elite quarterback, but you don't need that. You just need someone who's capable. He didn't have that last year, as we saw with Mariota. He has someone who is definitely capable of throwing him the ball. And then you need that target share. Look, Drake London, great receiver. I think they have other receivers. I'm not sure who, but I don't think it matters because they got Drake London and they got Kyle Pitts. He's going to soak up a ton of targets in this offense. He's got the target share. He's got the talent. He's healthy. Everything is in place, and you don't have to draft him as a top 3 tight end. You can get him as a tight end 5 or 6 usually. We know his upside. It's tight end 1 overall, or at least tight end 2 behind Travis Kelce, right? That guy's always going to be the top scorer. But Kyle Pitts, it's worth it. Take a shot on him. If you're going to draft a tight end early that's not Travis Kelce, it should be Pitts. Before we get to the rest of our league winners, have some exciting news to share with you.
Introducing DraftLane, the ultimate app for every fantasy football enthusiast. Take a trip down memory lane with our unique league history feature, giving you a comprehensive view of all your past leagues. Challenge yourself by comparing your historical performance against your league mates. Climb up the ranks and strive for the top spot in the DraftLane rankings. Connect directly with Pierre and myself to receive answers to all your burning fantasy questions. Experience the ultimate draft companion. We can tell you exactly who to pick when you're on the clock to help you draft that winning roster. During the season, rely on DraftLane to help you set winning lineups, make strategic waiver pickups, and even get personalized trade advice all through our user-friendly app. Download DraftLane for free on the App Store or Google Play for Android phones today.
All right, it's time for running backs. I mean, a lot of choices out there. Everyone's got their pick, but what's yours?
I don't care. It's Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson is going to win leagues this year, and you're either going to get on board and draft him, or you're going to say, I can't, he's a rookie, and you're going to miss out. If you saw this guy in college, if you saw what he did in college, you watched him in college, you already knew he was not just another rookie running back. He is an incredible talent, a once-in-a-generation type talent in every single sense of the word. And then if you watch him in the preseason, you really found out what he was like. First game in the NFL against a real NFL defense, looked tremendous. Breaking tackles, vision, the cuts, the burst, one-handed catch, the ball thrown way behind him. He just one-hand catch. It's like it's no big deal. This guy is going to be an absolute fantasy monster this year. He has a chance for what I call a legendary season. That's one of those seasons where it's like, did you have Bijan Robinson? Yes? Oh, you won your fantasy championship. Kind of like what we saw from McCaffrey a few years ago. David Johnson back, 2016, whenever it was. He has that kind of potential this year. We've talked about it with this offense. First of all, this offense is going to surprise a lot of people this year. It just is. The offensive line is good. He's a generational talent. Tyler Algier, yes, he'll get his touches, but they're not going to be enough to have any impact on Bijan Robinson. And don't even comment below about Cordarrelle Patterson. I might block you if you comment about Cordarrelle Patterson. Get out of here with that noise. Bijan Robinson, I don't care where he's being drafted. It's not high enough. This guy is going to win leagues this year.
Here's a pick that, again, might surprise you if you didn't catch it. I said this a few weeks ago. I have been pretty anti DeAndre Swift the last couple of years because he was in Detroit. It was pretty clear his path was blocked by a guy named Dan Campbell who did not believe in him. He's out of there. He's in Philadelphia. Clearly a better situation. Best offensive line in the league. One of the best offenses in the league. But here's the thing. We're all getting played. Or at least a lot of you are, because you don't think that he's going to be the guy. You don't think that he's going to have enough touches because Rashad Penny is the number one running back there. He's the guy. Kenneth Gainwell, RB1, they said it. Come on. Seriously? Are we buying that after how many years? Kenneth Gainwell all of a sudden is going to be the lead back in Philadelphia where he's never even been close to that? This is Sirianni and this staff just having fun. Come on. Gainwell is what he is, a situational back, a pass-catching guy. He'll get the occasional goal line plunge, but don't even think that he's going to all of a sudden out-touch DeAndre Swift or be the starter. And Rashad Penny, thought, oh, look how good he looks. They signed him so he could be the starter. If you saw the other day his highlight in the preseason, it looked like he was running in quicksand. His burst is not there. I mean, besides the fact that we really can't trust he'll stay healthy for more than 2 snaps anyways, he might not even make the final cut at this point. So forget all those other guys that are in the mix. Trey Sermon, come on. There was no bigger Trey Sermon fan than me when he came out of college, and he was a dud. All right? Don't come at me with any of that. DeAndre Swift is going to be the number one back here, and even though he disappointed last year because he just didn't get on the field enough, he averaged 5.5 yards per carry, averages 4.6 for his career, and he is a great pass-catching back. He doesn't need 20-plus touches. He doesn't need that. He has breakaway ability. He's going to catch a ton of passes. He's clearly got a lot of touchdown upside in that offense. This is somebody who can be had in the mid-rounds as your RB3 sometimes or late RB2. And he still has that potential to be a top 10 back. What we were expecting the last couple of years from him that he didn't deliver, I think it's finally time he delivers it in Philadelphia. All right, I know y'all been waiting for this. Wide receiver, so many tough choices. Who's the guy who you're just going to go ahead and declare a league winner?
It seems like in ESPN, like home leagues, Yahoo, whatever, rookie wide receivers might be the most undervalued players in all of fantasy. And that's the case with rookie wide receiver Jordan Addison this year. Goes right around pick 100, sometimes outside pick 100 in fantasy drafts. And I don't understand why, because we see rookie wide receivers all the time help people win championships. Whether they're awesome all year, they come on late, it doesn't matter. Jordan Addison is in a great spot to have a fantastic year this year. He's a talented wide receiver that the Vikings drafted in the first round because they know they need to take some pressure off Justin Jefferson. No, Justin Jefferson isn't going to see a reduction in his target share, but he needs somebody else out there that the defense has to think about because Dusty Adam Thielen, the defense didn't even have to pretend like he was even on the field. The guy is horrible. KJ Osborne, he's fine, but no defense is scared of KJ Osborne. Jordan Addison is going to be the clear number 2 wide receiver in this offense. He can run a good route tree. You can line him up all over the field. He's a perfect complement to Justin Jefferson, and he landed in a top 5 passing offense with a terrible defense who's going to have to continue being a top 5 passing offense. Jordan Addison will be one of the top rookie wide receivers this year, if not the top rookie wide receiver, and he's being drafted as a complete afterthought in your fantasy leagues. Get Jordan Addison. He'll help you. He'll be a guy you draft late and you're starting every week of the fantasy season.
Well, right around that same range, there's a secondary receiver who's making a lot of noise. Some people aren't buying into it because, it's more highlight versus production. The volume won't be there. Like, I don't care. George Pickens, I'm all yours. So I'm a sucker for, the athletic play and the highlights and all that, but I'm not a sucker on draft day. I know who is more likely to put up high target share, fantasy production, because one big play doesn't equal fantasy success. The fact that he can make those tough catches, the fact that he can go downfield and get his quarterback's trust for those plays where he can moss a defender, got that 6'3", long reach. he's going to have not only the downfield plays, which he did last year, right? He's a guy who made those big plays, but he's also going to get those tough third down targets. Deontay Johnson is still perfectly good. Not against him, not saying Pickens is going to take over completely, but I actually think this passing offense won't be that bad. And we've seen really good things from Kenny Pickett this whole preseason. Look, preseason is what it is, right? I'm not buying just into preseason production, but Pickett was actually showing signs last season as it wore on of his rookie season, in which he wasn't the starter for the first few weeks. He showed big improvement. Stop turning the ball over, right? They kind of kept him on a leash. I think they're going to loosen the leash quite a bit. And George Pickens, they're just going to let him loose, right? Because he's shown what he can do. He's got that dog in him. He's got the confidence. He wants the ball. And when it's in anywhere his general vicinity, he's going to get it. I think the targets are going to come. And he's also that type of player that I like to have because he really doesn't need 10 targets to have a big fantasy day. He had several last year on a kind of anemic passing offense. I mean, this guy, honestly, the only reason he fell on draft day was because of injury concerns. He might actually be the most athletic and physically gifted receiver in the league. And there's not just me saying that, a lot of NFL players feel the same way. So I'm buying into it. Pickens has that high weekly ceiling. That's what I'm looking for. We're always looking for those guys who could help you win your league. And so these are some of the running backs that we think are must-haves.